Hi everyone, it's John from Wot Up, and welcome back to another video. Now, over the weekend, Narg gave us some leaked set pictures. In this video, we're going to go over all of the pictures he put out, and I'm going to give my 2 cents on what I think they are, and some information from my sources that might shed a little bit of light on what we're seeing there. Now, before we get into the video, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so and click that notification bell. I usually put out 1 to 2 videos per week that are Wheel of Time on Prime centric. That is to say, anything to do with the show, whether it be castings, leaked set pictures, news, anything at all, I'll cover here in the channel. And sometimes I get a few exclusives as well. And oddly enough, I do have another exclusive coming later this week, so keep an eye out for that. Now, before we get into the video, spoiler warning, in this video I will cover certain elements of Robert Jordan's The Eye of the World. So if you haven't already read at least book 1 of The Wheel of Time, be forewarned, I may ruin certain character arcs and plot points. With that being said, let's get on to the video. Alright, so what do we have for you today? We have some leaked set pictures from Narg. Now, he used to run the Daily Trolloc and do all kinds of Wheel of Time news, and now he has an Instagram account where he promotes Wheel of Time stuff. So if you're a Wheel of Time content creator, or you just like Wheel of Time at all, he usually puts out a bunch of Wheel of Time stuff over there on Instagram, and occasionally, not very often, but he does do it once in a while now, he leaks some set photos, some set videos. Now, these photos came to us from last week, and they are really, really very neat. So if you want to follow Narg over there on Instagram, the link to his Instagram is down below in the description box. Go ahead and check him out. Now, I will warn you before we get into these are actual set photos, so if it will spoil your viewing pleasure of Season 1, you've been warned. We're going to show you some stuff, and then I'm going to speculate on it, and I'm also going to tell you what some of my sources are saying about the photos, so if that in any way, shape, or form will ruin the way you're going to watch the first season of Wheel of Time, maybe click off the video now. Alright, so he prefaced this with this little cool box, basically just right after the land teaser came out, and he was pretty excited about the land teaser, just like everyone else, but of course he had to make a joke about it because we assumed Land was fighting Trollocs in the teaser, and he made that joke that they're killing his his brothers, and so he's going to give something that makes him happy, which is, of course, behind-the-scene pictures. Now, these pictures are of this place. This is Skansen Rapora, and I apologize if I butcher the pronunciation of that because I'm terrible at pronouncing things just in general, but this is an outdoor medieval museum found in Prague in the Czech Republic. Now, we do know they were scheduled to film there earlier in January of last year. Now, all of these photos I found out were in and around the time of January 20th, 2020, so it does work out, at least in the timing of around when these photos were posted or put out. Now, this site resembles a farmhouse with a number of different outbuildings, so it can be pretty much anything at all. I'm going to go through a couple of these pictures here. Basically, it's just showing the farmhouse itself. Nothing really crazy here, but then we get this one. This is a cropped photo that Narg put out, and it's a nighttime shot of a couple of haystacks, a bunch of lighting and smoke in the background, which is really very cool, but doesn't show us a whole lot, but gives us a lot of room for speculation. Now, we do know there was a fire here in the museum on and around January 10th, 2020. Caught fire, burned to the ground, and then on the 13th, a gentleman by the name of Pavel Notvany tweeted out that it was going to be rebuilt within a week because the Americans are going to be filming Wheel of Time there. So we knew they were going to film there around that time, but we didn't know what they were going to film, and then it burnt to the ground. After it burnt to the ground, we have confirmation that they were going to rebuild it and then film there afterwards. All right, so I'm going to get into some of these other photos that he put up, and we're going to get a real close look at them here, and then I'm going to give you the who was on set at the time, who could have possibly been filming here, what they were filming, that we know of at least, and maybe what these scenes could be. All right, so something I failed to mention about the first picture I showed you, it did show a tractor in the foreground. That is not part of the shot. They're not including tractors in the Wheel of Time, so they haven't gone that far into changing things. So don't worry too much about that. That was just a picture of the set from behind the scenes, and you did happen to see what was on site at the time, which happened to be a tractor. So there's that. Now, this is what we're looking at here. This is the outdoor museum. This is the main building, and it looks just like a very medieval farmhouse. It looks really very cool, very well constructed, very neat. Now, this could be any number of different things. Now, we do know that Rand and Matt visited a number of farmhouses along the way, and they slept in a number of haystacks on the road to Camelin in the books. However, the one that most notably comes to mind is when they met the Grinwells, because that is a very big scene, at least in the first book. I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but this would resemble something like that. Now, we're going to get into the who and what. So who was on set during that time? Now, we know for sure that Priyanka Bose, Claire Perkins, Peter Franza, and Alvaro Morte were on set during that time frame, which gives us a little bit to go on. But they were, however, filming in a number of different locations. Now, according to a source of mine, they were filming in the studio and outdoors, and not only just outdoors, but in a number of locations at the same time outdoors. So they did overlap in a lot of what they're filming. So I can't be sure of who was on set filming at this particular farmhouse, this particular medieval museum. However, they were doing a lot of battle scenes at the time. Now, Geeky Airy over at WotSeries.com put out a Block 2 video quite some time ago now, and I've left a link to it down below in the description box if you want to check that out. It does basically corroborate some of this stuff, and it does say they were filming a battle scene. Now, what I was able to get from a source is what that battle scene was. Now, it was a battle scene with Loghain's armies. So we do know that during the first season of The Wheel of Time, he's going to proclaim himself as the Dragon Reborn. That's a given. It happens in the book. We also know that they're going to do some expanded scenes with Loghain. We're probably going to see where he proclaims himself. We're probably going to see a bit of his backstory, and we're probably going to see some of those battles. None of that was showcased in the books at all, but it does make for very exciting TV, and a lot of people have expressed interest in seeing Loghain's storyline expanded, including Rafe Judkins, the showrunner. So it's not a huge surprise to me that those battle scenes that we're filming had to do with Loghain's armies. Now, how do Priyanka Bose, Claire Perkins, Peter Franzen, and Alvaro Morte fit in that? Well, Alvaro Morte is playing Loghain, so it doesn't really surprise anyone that he's going to be on set in and around the time they're filming his battle scenes. Priyanka Bose is Alana. Now, she is probably taking the place of any generic Green Sister in the first couple seasons, and they're using her to showcase, how Aes Sedai fight, how warders work, all of that other stuff. It does not surprise me they're showcasing her early. We know she's part of the cast for quite some time now. We know that she probably has a much bigger and expanded storyline in the series than she did in the books, because we didn't see her that much. Now, Claire Perkins and Peter Franzen are a little bit different. Claire Perkins is playing an Aes Sedai that is predominantly featured in New Spring and then dies at the end of that book, and Peter Franzen is playing her warder. Now, we're not sure how they're going to fit in, whether they are on set to do flashbacks at that time, whether they are actually going to be in present day as part of these battle scenes. We're completely unsure, but we do know that certain elements in New Spring are going to be included in the first season, so you can take that with what you will. Now, with these battle scenes, we do know that we're going to see a number of different spots. It does not necessarily mean it's going to include this farmhouse, but we do know that this particular farmhouse, this museum, was used in night shoots. Now, this is the other set picture that Narek put out, and it basically just shows the area at night with all of those lights. Now, the first haystack picture that he showed us basically showed the lights that you're seeing in the bottom left-hand side of this frame of photo in the top of it. So what we're probably seeing here is someone just taking a picture of the lighting rig up top, which you can see there in the top right-hand side of the photo, over top of the area, the farmhouse, and the trees and whatnot. However, these are intentionally cropped. There's probably a lot more of these pictures, probably shown a little bit more, but whoever put them out, or however Nar got them, they did edit them first to not show too much. So what we know from this is we know who was on set. We know what they were filming, at least in part, because they're not filming the same scene in the studio as they're going to be filming in all the locations outside. This does not necessarily mean that they're filming Loghain's battle scene at a farmhouse. Could be his capture. It could be any number of other things. It could be Rand and Matt at one of the random farmhouses on the way to Camelin or on the road. Could be any number of different things, but it is really fun to speculate on what this could be. Alright, so here's that haystack photo again, and like I said, you can kind of see those lights at the top there, and you can see that stick at the top of that haystack was also in the bottom left-hand side of the night shoot photo with the night lighting rig. So you know they're related, you know it's the same spot, and you know that there probably is a lot more to these pictures than you're seeing. So I want to hear what you folks think. What do you think is happening in these photos? What do you think is going on in this area around January 20th of last year, in and around that time frame at least anyway? Are they filming parts of Loghain's capture? Are they filming battle scenes? Are they filming just Matt and Rand on the road, visiting a random farmhouse like generic village number 3, seeing some of the people there? Are they filming maybe some other things? I'm not entirely sure. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of Narg's photos as well. I mean, I really like seeing this stuff. This is twice now in the last month he's given us something. Here's to hope maybe he keeps doing this at least on a semi-regular basis to give us a little bit more to speculate and talk about. Also, before we go here, I do want to mention I did start a TikTok. I'm a little bit old, but I wanted to try something new, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So if you have any questions about the Wheel of Time, about production, about the show, or about anything at all, you can either do one of two things. You can leave them down below in the description box, or sorry, in the comments down below. Go ahead and click them there. write them out, and I'll answer those questions over on TikTok, or you can go over to my TikTok and follow me there, and you can actually ask me questions with the Q&A feature, or comment in one of the videos there and ask me a question. And I do my best to answer pretty much everything. So anything from, minute details from the books all the way up to what's going on with the production of the cast or crew, I am open to answer pretty much anything that I know. So there's that. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for sticking with me here to the very end, and here's to many more.